Thunder!
Hey everybody, how's it going? As you all know, last week we finally got the first big Nintendo Direct since the launch of the Switch 2. Despite a lot of people online saying that the Direct was pretty mediocre, I thought it was a really decent showing. We finally got a Prime 4 release date, a new Yoshi game, another Kirby Air Riders Direct, and I'm really looking forward to the new Fire Emblem. But for me, the biggest announcements in this Direct were of course the Mario 40th anniversary announcements. Specifically the Galaxy related stuff, because they really seem to push Galaxy hard. Let's start by talking about the movie because I think there is a lot to unpack here. Now unfortunately, I did get spoiled to the title prior to the reveal, but I honestly didn't think the leak was real because my knee-jerk reaction was, why would they jump straight into Galaxy instead of doing World or Land first? But the more I thought about it, I think that Galaxy was the right call, especially if Nintendo is still leaning into the nostalgia factor of the movies. I think that we're at the point where a lot of people who grew up with the Wii and Mario Galaxy are starting to feel nostalgic for that era of Nintendo. That same demographic also happens to make up a large part of Nintendo's current demographic. So yeah, it doesn't seem so surprising anymore that they're leaning that heavily into the Galaxy nostalgia. But regardless of that, looking back at the first movie, I think that Galaxy being the sequel was being teased the whole time. Peach not knowing where she comes from while also saying that there's a huge universe out there with a lot of galaxies. You have Lumily showing up throughout the movie when there are seemingly no other Lumas present. And even in the end credits, a rendition of Gusty Garden Galaxy is the last song that plays. It really does make it feel a lot more obvious looking back. I will say, however, there are still some elements we already knew about the Mario movie sequel that have me curious as to how exactly Galaxy is going to be handled. The biggest one being Yoshi. We know that Yoshi is going to be in this movie, there's no question about that. Yoshi was also a major part of Galaxy 2, so having him in the movie makes perfect sense, but his teaser at the end of the first movie really made it seem like his egg was back in Brooklyn. So does that mean that Mario and Luigi are going to be called back to Brooklyn to take care of the Yoshi situation? And if so, how much of the movie is going to be focused on that as opposed to being in space? We also have a leaked storyboard frame that showed Mario and Luigi walking through what seems to be sort of a desert market of sorts. Both this scene and Yoshi potentially being in Brooklyn actually seem to be confirmed by the Old Spice leak that leaked the title of the movie. For Yoshi, his spray can said Brooklyn Bounce on it, implying that we will in fact be going back to Brooklyn. Then the desert themed spray can is called Desert Detour, and it features an upside down pyramid as well as a Tostarena NPC next to Luigi, implying that our heroes will be going to Tostarena at some point as well. What I'm trying to say is that I'm worried that this movie could have potentially strange pacing again like the first movie. I have to imagine that Yoshi's introduction is going to take up a large chunk of the film, and most likely the desert scene will as well. I know that it's been stated that Galaxy isn't going to be the only thing the movie is taking inspiration from, but it would feel weird to me if the actual Galaxy related stuff is only in like half of the movie. I've also seen a lot of people suggesting that going to the Desert Kingdom could maybe feature Daisy in some way, but I honestly feel like having Daisy, Yoshi, and most likely Rosalina in the same movie might feel like a bit too much. Daisy feels like a character that would be saved for her own film alongside maybe Wario, since they both originate from the Land games. Now a character that does seem to be confirmed, however, is Bowser Jr. It looks like he was leaked via a prototype toy for the movie, so it definitely seems like Jr. will play a pretty big role in the story. This makes perfect sense to me because on one hand, if they aren't adapting Sunshine, Galaxy is still one of Jr.'s bigger appearances in the series, and then you also have the fact that Bowser still has to be freed by someone. Ever since the first movie, I'd actually always speculated that it would in fact be Jr. to free his dad, but it's still nice to see that it's actually happening. So, since both Bowser and Bowser Jr. seem to be the film's villains, I have a feeling that at least the space portion of the movie is going to play out a lot like Galaxy 1. Bowser lifting Peach's castle out of the ground and taking it to the far reaches of space definitely sounds like a much higher stakes plot than the first movie. Plus, I could easily see the movie doing this so Peach is separated from the main heroes for a good portion of the movie in order to give more attention to new characters like Yoshi and Rosalina. Now, as for what I personally want to see from the movie, I hope that we get a decent mix of locations from both Galaxy 1 and 2. At the very least, I hope that we see the Comet Observatory and Gusty Garden Galaxy. With Yoshi being involved in the movie, seeing Yoshi Star Galaxy from Galaxy 2 feels pretty likely as well. I'm also really hoping for less needle drops of non-Mario music. I didn't hate some of the song choices from the first movie, but seeing what we could have gotten, especially from the original track used for the Jungle Kingdom section, it would be pretty disappointing to have that happen again, especially with just how much iconic Mario music comes from the Galaxy games alone. Even hearing the Galaxy Overture in the teaser gave me goosebumps. One more small thing about the movie that isn't a huge deal breaker for me, but it's still something that I gotta bring up. I do not want Yoshi to talk. I know that with Yoshi being one of the more prominent characters in the movie, this is probably unlikely, but I would really prefer him not to talk. It's mostly because I have this gut feeling that if Illumination does make Yoshi talk, they're going to find a way, some way, to make him very annoying. I do not want Yoshi to become the Mario movie equivalent of the Minions. But let's be real, they're probably saving that for the Lumas, which I also do not want at all. But yeah, I don't think it would totally ruin the movie for me. I'd just rather not have it happen at all. And that's really all I have to say about the movie. I enjoyed the first Mario movie a lot, but I still think it had a lot of flaws, so hopefully the Galaxy movie fixes a lot of these issues. I cannot wait to see the full trailer whenever it comes out. Okay, so moving on from the movie, we gotta talk about the other big Galaxy-related announcement from the Direct. Galaxy 1 and Galaxy 2 are coming to the Switch. I gotta say, I'm happy that Galaxy 2 is finally on the system, but I'm a bit bummed that they couldn't just add it to a re-release of 3D All-Stars. I'm sure you've heard a lot of people complaining about the price of these games, and yeah, I agree. This is ridiculous pricing for these titles. Sure, the games are having some slight improvements in terms of resolution and the cutscenes being improved as well, but these are still Wii games. They are both over a decade old. Without genuinely significant improvements to these games, it's hard to justify that price. So for me personally, I'm not buying Galaxy 2 on the Switch. What makes this even worse is that Galaxy 2 is my favorite 3D Mario. I absolutely love this game, and I would love to tell people to buy this game if they've never played Galaxy 2 before. And yeah, if you really do want to play Galaxy 2 for the first time, go ahead. But there are other methods to play this game if you know where to look. I just really wish that they could have found a way to add some substantial new content to these ports to make them more worthwhile. Even if they didn't add new galaxies, maybe adding in more hidden stars like the green stars, or adding new comet levels. Maybe they could have even just added something as simple as a true harder New Game Plus mode outside of just Luigi mode. Just adding some sort of additional playable content would have been great. On a lighter note, however, I do like that Nintendo is at least making an effort to bring Galaxy 1 and 2 to current hardware. I know that we already had Galaxy 1 and 3D All-Stars, but with that being a limited release, it didn't really lend itself to game preservation all that much. With this, as much as I disagree with the pricing, at least these games are going to be easily accessible to anyone who really wants to play them. I also gotta say that it's really cool that they're adding more storybook content, with Galaxy 2 actually getting its own brand new book. I'm curious to see what exactly is included in it, and to be honest, I wouldn't be too shocked if it somehow ends up tying into whatever backstory they use for Rosalina in the Galaxy movie. The physical storybook is also really cool. A bit bummed that it's not going to include any of the brand new content, but it's still a cool piece of merch nonetheless. Alright, so there is one more thing regarding all of this Galaxy stuff that I do still want to talk about. With both Galaxy games coming back, the physical storybook being released, and even the next movie being themed around Galaxy, is it finally time for us to actually see Mario Galaxy 3? Yeah, no, I don't think so. As much as a Galaxy 3 would be really cool to see after all these years, I feel like that ship has sailed, but I don't think that means Nintendo is abandoning the concept completely. I definitely think that with all the focus on Galaxy, there's still a chance that we might see Mario return to space in some form. If that was going to happen, however, I see it as more of a successor to Galaxy rather than a direct follow-up. Unlike games like Sunshine and Odyssey that were built around adding a new gimmick to Mario's moveset, the Galaxy games focus less on Mario's moveset and more on the level design and mechanics themselves. So taking the foundations from games like Odyssey or Bowser's Fury and then adding the gravity mechanics or physics from Galaxy on top of that is something that I could actually see Nintendo doing. Now, I could totally be wrong here and the next 3D Mario doesn't feature space-related stuff in any way, but even if it's not in the next game, I highly doubt that Nintendo is done with the concept of Galaxy as a whole. There's still so much more potential that they can do with it, and I still really want to see it applied to the sandbox style of 3D Mario at some point in the future. But what do you all think? Are you excited for the Galaxy movie? Are you going to be picking up any of the Galaxy ports? Let me know down in the comments. I'd love to see what you all think. But for now, I think that's enough out of me. So if you like this video, feel free to like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video. Later.